Hello, everybody. I would like to welcome all of you to our webinar, Access to Logistics and Mobility, NRW as Germany's Logistics Hotspot, the second of 9 webinars in the pre-program of our Startup Germany tour. My name is Dominik Stute. I'm responsible for the field of innovation, industry, and international markets at the Chamber of Industry and Commerce in Dortmund, and I'm one of the main organizers of the Startup Germany tour. North Rhine-Westphalia is one of the most exciting locations in Germany, or even in all of Europe, in the field of logistics and mobility. Yeah, and so you will today get to know industry experts and important multipliers from NRW, learn how to enter the market here, and get useful information about where you can find the best support. For this purpose, we have invited numerous great speakers today, whom I would like to thank sincerely already now. And as always, I would also like to thank the partners of our Startup Germany tour, which is initiated and organized by the Chambers of Industry and Commerce in the Ruhr area, Cologne and Düsseldorf, as well as by our Chambers of Commerce abroad and by our umbrella organization, DIHK. And really big thanks go out to our Ministry of Economic Affairs, Innovation, Digitalization and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, to NRW Global Business, as well as to the NRW Bank, who are all our partners this year. Yeah, and with these partners, we continue now, and I'll hand over to Björn Schubert. He is head of the unit Innovation Markets at the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Innovation, Digitalization and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. Have fun and see you later. Björn, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, Dominik. So just a few words from my side. As already mentioned, my name is Björn, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Economic Affairs of the German state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And as you right mentioned, I'm the head of innovation markets within our ministry. So what is our mission about? Head of Innovation Markets means that our mission in brief is to bring the innovative stakeholders, entrepreneurs, companies, institutions, and so on from all around the world, together with the right actors here in NRW, to the right actors and to make it easier for you to start your exchange, your business, and your activities in our federal state. And I think the Startup Germany tour is the right place to show you and all entrepreneurs worldwide the huge potential of our federal state, to connect you with our key holders, with our key stakeholders here, and to give you the opportunity to explore not only the German market, but I think to explore the whole European market. So today's webinar will give you great insights into one of our key pillars of our economic potential here. This is especially the logistics and mobility sector. And with regard to this year's Startup Germany tour, let me stress one thing. We are very proud at the moment that we have already confirmed participation of more than, let's guess, 40 countries worldwide that will be pitching their startup ideas and their business models in the upcoming weeks during the Startup Germany tour. And at the end of the Startup Germany tour, we will invite you and the top 15 startups worldwide to come here to our federal state, where we will connect you physically with our whole ecosystem here, and to bring you together with the right appropriate corporates, investors, and other key stakeholders. And let me just add one thing. We are currently launching a new startup welcome package here, which will offer selected startups special support, such as vouchers for co-working, services, financial aid, and so on. And our key aim is here to make it easier for you and all entrepreneurs worldwide to kick off your business in North Rhine-Westphalia. So throughout the 2022 Startup Germany tour, we want to show you the diversity of our state, to give you a perfect overview of our main sectors and future issues here, and to show you that our federal state is indeed the economic powerhouse, not only in Germany, but I think in Europe. So enjoy the webinar today. Try to connect as much as you can, and I hope we will keep in touch. All the best. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Björn, and yeah, thank you for being such a good partner for us. Yeah, now we already start with an introduction to the logistics and mobility sector in NRW from two different persons. The first one will be Michael Kordos. He is General Manager Western Europe and North America from our partner NRW Global Business. And the second one will be Mr. Abelmann from the Logistic NRW Competence Network. Both will give us now further insights into the exciting logistics and mobility sector in NRW. Mr. Kordos, you're the first one. Thank you for being here with us.
So thank you, Dominic, for your kind introduction. And sorry for that. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon also from my side, and welcome to a brief introduction to the logistics and mobility hotspot of North Rhine-Westphalia. My name is Michael Kordos, as Dominic pointed out, and I'm working for NRW Global Business, which is a trade and investment agency of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And we are 100% belonging to the Ministry of Economics here in this state, and we are supporting companies from abroad, but also NRW companies in doing business and in aligning in the respective sectors. So first of all, to those of you who are participating and are confronted for the first time with NRW, or the state with the unspeakable name North Rhine-Westphalia, a little bit more information about North Rhine-Westphalia and what it is all about. So everybody is claiming to be in the heart of Europe. So, and it always depends on where you put the map, moving to the left or to the right. Therefore, we create a new slogan of us: we are Europe's heartbeat. Imagine, North Rhine-Westphalia is 1 out of 16 states in Germany, and it is the leading state with regard to GDP, with regard to the trading volumes, and with a number of companies doing business all over Germany. So 21% of Germany's GDP is generated by our state, just alone. 19 of our top selling companies in Germany operating their headquarters out of our state. And North Rhine-Westphalia stands for a 400 billion trading volume. And this makes it real, the economic powerhouse, or with our new slogan, the Europe heartbeats in our state. Compared with the other economic situation within Europe, you can see at the statistics, North Rhine-Westphalia is ranking at number 6 compared with other states, and in front of Poland, Sweden, Belgium, Austria, and Ireland, for example. Just imagine, again, we are just 1 out of 16 states in Germany. The GDP and the sales are generated by the following sectors. Mechanical engineering is traditionally leading the statistics. Chemicals, food, beverages, metal productions, and. I don't want to bore you along with these statistics, but you can see from the figures that based on this strong industrial background, for example, and this is the bridge to our topic, logistics is a key contributor and the key prerequisite to support all these industrial activities in our state. And I think you will get more and deeper information by my colleague Peter, who will run the presentation later on. But it is not only about industrial activities, it is also a marketplace, North Rhine-Westphalia, for logistics industries. 160 million consumers within a radius of 500 kilometers. And it is not a pure by incident that 25% of all logistics centers of Germany are here based in North Rhine-Westphalia. and especially the Rhine-Ruhr region, and with the biggest inland shipping harbor of Duisburg, and you will see the details later on in the presentations as well, are located in our state. And our state, with maximum hours of 3 hours flight, every single city you can reach is in our range. And last but not least, please keep in mind that some major players, like for example UPS or Federal Express, are using North Rhine-Westphalia and the city of Cologne and the airport of Cologne as their major European gateway. And this stands for the attractiveness of being a logistics hotspot. Home of the world market leaders, just a few examples. And you can imagine everyone is using North Rhine-Westphalia and the prerequisites of the logistics infrastructure for their successful business. It is not all about the big shots in that way. It is also about startups and scale-ups active. 20% of all startups in Germany are meanwhile located in North Rhine-Westphalia. And this is a fact, I think, which is not that well known in the community. With regard to the logistics activity, I just want to pick, because of time reasons, on one thing. It is Picnic. Picnic, a logistics startup, created their delivery service, home delivery service, a few years ago. It's a Dutch startup here in our area, in the Lower Rhine area of Mönchengladbach. And now they are operating more than 5 logistics centers doing the home delivery distribution. So, and this increase of business was mainly due over the last 4 years. Tech clusters and regional innovation platforms are supporting scale-ups, startups in every kind of business, what you can think of. Either it is technical way or it is based on logistics sectors. So our company as NRW Global Business, as being the trade investment agency of the state, we are responsible for bringing you into contact with all the respective players in the industry. So we are your partner to support your investment projects and settlement, but also to align you with the respective companies. Professional advice, access to network of legal accounts and so on, premises, access to offices. So everything else you need for starting a productive and successful business is provided by our companies. And please keep in mind that all this information service and all these activities are absolutely free of charge. So you can contact us at any time, and I'm available for your questions. And with regard to the logistics industry, I'm now handing over to my colleague, Peter Abelmann, who will lead you a little bit more deeper into the logistics details. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, my name is Peter Abelmann. I have to share it's a little bit. Can you see my chart?
We can already see it, but you need to make it in the presentation mode, full screen.
Yeah, I'm on the way, but it will not go on the way. Why not? I'm not sure. Do it once again. Sorry. No. It's not in the presentation modus. Why not? So I think now it's
working. Yeah,
it's working. Okay. Yes, thank you very much for sharing some information here about logistics in North Rhine-Westphalia and our network, the Kompetenznetzwerk Logistik NRW. First, I will go on the first point. is what is logistics. I think I didn't want to say everything was on this chart. Only one thing which is really good. It's logistics is for us not only a branch. It's a complex function of companies, and in the end, every company needs logistics, and that's our main task, to make this function in every company a little bit better. When we look closer to NRW as our main topic, you find ideal set of conditions, because you have much industry here, you have growing sectors here, you have much people here. So we are very dense. We have a dense infrastructure. We have very high volume of education institutes to developing technologies. And we have a lot of clusters which will help you to bring your ideas into the market in NRW. When we see a little bit in the facts and figures, I don't want to recapitulate all these things on this slide, but I think a very big point is that about 750,000 people working in this sector in North Rhine-Westphalia, and this is, I think, one of the really big figures we can bring you. We have the biggest inland harbor in Europe. This is Duisport. Michael mentioned it before. And we have a lot of students who are currently studying logistics in our country. So if you need people who will help to bring your ideas in the next level, you can find the real, the right people here in North Rhine-Westphalia. A little bit of name dropping. Michael did it before, but here a little bit more on the logistics side. Fiege, BLG, DSV, Renus, Schenker, big companies in Germany and Europe who are doing logistics and also intralogistics like SSI Schäfer, Van der Lande, a lot of trading companies. Amazon is here, TK Maxx, Zalando. So a lot of companies which are dealing with the logistics scene here. And now let me talk a little bit about us. We have more than 300 companies in our network as full members. We have a lot of other companies and industries we are joining us. We are a central unit for the logistic companies here and stakeholders, and so we have a lot of partners, institutions. This is only a little bit of them. I think most of them were joining in the next slides here. You will know members, or only also some names, not too much information. But what do we do? We were on trade fairs, we were like a lot of events, we have working groups, we had roundtables, we share a lot of market information, we have our logistics index, which is a little bit like an, where you can see where the companies are on. We have an innovation radar, we have market data, so we deal a little bit with a lot of information. We have direct contact to the state ministries, the state government. We are funded by the government, so we are well connected. And we have a lot of online exchange of ideas in the last 2 years, where we couldn't do our events from face to face. We have a lot of innovation clusters here. You will see later on the colleagues of Start.up or the Digital Hub. So I don't know, there's no need to bring them on the phone here. And that's it. If you want to know anything about North Rhine-Westphalia and our logistics cluster or logistics theme, just give me a call, and I'm happy to help you in every thing we can do. Thank you. I think the next is Thorsten Hülsmann.
Yeah, genau. The next one is Thorsten Hülsmann. But first, a big thanks to both of you for the great introduction and insights. I think both of you are very good first point of contacts for all of our viewers. Yeah, and as you said, now we go on with a spotlight on innovations in the logistics sector. And I think no one could do this better than Thorsten Hülsmann. He is CEO of the Digital Hub Logistics in Dortmund. And yeah, the floor is yours. But first, for our viewers, if you have any questions, just don't be shy and put them in the chat, and we will answer them during the different speakers. So yeah, Thorsten, please.
Okay, thank you, Dominic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome also from my side. My name is Thorsten Hülsmann. As mentioned by Dominic and Peter, I am Managing Director of Digital Hub Management and Digital Hub Logistics in Dortmund. What I will do in the next minutes is I want to focus and give an overview about the logistics, applied research and innovation activities in North Rhine-Westphalia. And as I am representing the Digital Hub Logistics Dortmund, my focus will be naturally on Dortmund, but nevertheless, I will also mention some of the other locations and organizations and institutes in our federal state. So let me start with this a little bit, let's say, comprehensive graph view here, which is trying to summarize the different initiatives, projects, and organizations which are assembled in the Digital Hub Logistics in Dortmund. So on top, you see we have competence centers, 3 of them, and they are all the main reason, or one of the main reasons, why the state of North Rhine-Westphalia is one of the most important spots in Europe when it comes to applied research on logistics and on innovation initiatives. So we have on the top left the already mentioned Institute for Material Flow and Logistics. Then we have the Fraunhofer Institute for Software and Systems Technology, dealing, for instance, with data and data sovereignty topics and data spaces. Technical University of Dortmund is another competence center. All is orchestrated by our company, the Digital Hub Management GmbH, which is a non-profit company which has 3 main shareholders. These are industry associations with a lot of company members. So I will focus in the next minutes on 3 or 4 of these flagship initiatives, namely the I know already a couple of years old cluster, Effizienzcluster Logistik. I will also explain why I'm focusing on this. I will talk a little bit and introduce the Leistungszentrum Logistik and IT, which is the competence center for logistics and IT, facilitated by IML and Technical University of Dortmund. I will also explain about the initiative Silicon Economy and the Open Logistics Foundation. And finally, I will end with an outlook and an explanation of International Data Spaces Association. So you see here in this graph view other topics which I won't mention and explain today. This is basically, or these are basically, for instance, well, organizations who are supporting SMEs in the sector. These are organizations like the Enterprise Labs on the top right corner, where especially the 2 Fraunhofer institutes are conducting since many years very intensive collaboration formats with the leading logistics companies in Germany. Other things I want to mention here are test beds conducted by Fraunhofer and by the technical universities on various topics which are always related to logistics and supply chain management. And when it comes to talents and startup support, we have also initiatives linked to the cluster, for instance, the Center for Entrepreneurship and Transfer of the Technical University, the Graduate School of Logistics, and Start.up and other startup activities. My colleague Jan will directly after me, I think, explain what Start.up is about. So let me focus on the already mentioned initiatives. Why I'm mentioning Effizienzcluster Logistik? It is because the topic we have investigated from 2010 onwards with the support of the German government, with more than 120 companies involved, was focusing on environment and on autonomization in logistics processes. And if we observe the current debate about the so-called twin transition, the greening and the green logistics topics are becoming more and more popular. At the same time, digitalization, of course, is influencing the industry a lot. And so these topics have already been investigated in North Rhine-Westphalia within this Effizienzcluster program from 2010 to 2015. So you see here the reference link, please visit it. There you can find a lot of interesting results, products, innovation blocks, building blocks for efficient logistics processes. So then out of these activities in Effizienzcluster, a couple of years later, the so-called Center of Excellence for Logistics and IT was established. It is one of 17 centers of excellence run by the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft in Germany and co-funded by the German government and the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. So it pools scientific work with and research in logistics and IT with the goal to really bring applied research to a new and higher level. The focus is on leading edge technology supporting the triple transition in and for logistics, environment, society, and digitalization are in the core and in the focus. The impact of this Center of Excellence, which is this year running in the 5th year, can be found in this transfer format brochure, which you can access via the shared homepage. The third initiative or program I want to introduce today is called Silicon Economy. The infrastructure, and not less than a project or an initiative, which is reinventing the infrastructure for the logistics platforms of the future. I think everyone who's involved in the industry has witnessed that the most successful business models for logistics and supply chain management come from the platform economy. And in this understanding, the future is and will be characterized by a diversity and the coexistence of different logistical and industrial B2B platforms. Peter Abelmann already mentioned the high competences on Industry 4.0 in North Rhine-Westphalia, and the same is true, of course, for Logistics 4.0, which is, in our understanding, an integral part of the Industry 4.0 movement. And this initiative and project, the Silicon Economy, is focusing since a couple of years, I think it's 2 years, on inventing new software products from ordering and invoicing right through to transportation, warehousing, all activities you can find in the logistics value chain. And in the development projects of the Silicon Economy, which is, by the way, also funded by the German government with many million euros, solutions and building block for this future platform economy are created on the basis of concrete logistics use cases. And what is, I think, also special here is that they are exclusively published as open source, so software in an own repository. You will find all these innovation processes and innovative products on the homepage of Silicon Economy. And the impact we already can witness it within the Open Logistics Foundation. This Open Logistics Foundation was established and created end of last year, and the operation started in January this year. And the Open Logistics Foundation hosts and further develops jointly software and published it in the open source software repository. Why is this worthwhile to mention? I think in general, one can say that the logistics industry, as we have observed it in the last 2 decades, it's quite a conservative industry with low margins, and the investments into research and innovation are not as high as, for instance, in manufacturing or in other industries. But here with Open Logistics Foundation, the major companies, at least in Germany and hopefully very soon European-wide and globally, have gathered together because they are convinced that developing logistics software in a cooperative mode jointly has a lot of advantages, not only when it comes to interoperability, but also to achieve de facto standards for the industry. And this is worthwhile to mention. And you can also access the repository and all information on Open Logistics Foundation via the mentioned homepage here on this slide. The company logos you have here are only the founding members of Open Logistics Foundation Association. They have kickstarted and established the association in December last year. Already now, more companies, more logistics service providers and more software companies have joined, and also the developments on certain open source software have already started. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about the topic which are more related to data and to cloud and edge services. But of course, these activities on sovereign data sharing are crucial for any future-oriented innovations which affect also logistics. Of course, every one of you is aware that artificial intelligence and big data topics, algorithms, and software products related to these fields are enabling logistics companies and distributors and shippers to make their logistics processes more efficient. And data sharing takes place through federated international data spaces that are globally certified by IDS and processed via Gaia-X federated services. So Gaia-X federated services is a movement or an initiative, a truly European initiative, which is, well, setting up kind of federated cloud services, and IDS, International Data Spaces Association, is a standard development organization. We are facilitating and orchestrating and managing from Dortmund. I think it's quite interesting to observe that this contradiction you see here in this balance on the bottom of this slide, the contradiction between interoperability on the one hand side and the wish to own the data is obvious for all companies, also and especially when it comes to supply chain management and to logistics. The solution we have here can be subscribed maybe or described in the terms of data sovereignty as the ability of a company to exclusively and sovereignly decide concerning the usage of data as an economic asset. And this is especially the core of the IDS initiative and the movement. And I just want to mention two already established use cases which are basing and building on the IDS standard and Gaia-X federated services. The one is called Mobility Data Space, an initiative and an association kickstarted a couple of months ago in Germany, and bringing all mobility actors together, creating sovereign data sharing schemes which are enabling seamless mobility patterns. This is the one initiative I want to mention, and the other one is the Smart Connected Supply Network, which was established a couple of years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago in the Netherlands, which is orchestrated and coordinated by the Dutch Research Association, TNO. And this Smart Connector Supplier Network, crucial I would say future logistics network or data ecosystem enabling logistics and supply network activities, is also worthwhile to mention, because it is really leading edge in this understanding. On IDS and on Gaia-X, we have several use cases which are up and running. And I think you see here already that the outreach of our industry-based initiatives and associations to industry and to companies is worthwhile. It is interesting, I think, also for startups, because big corporations usually have challenges, and startups can help to speed up and to solve certain challenges with solutions by startup companies. And we are, of course, here to help also startups to get in contact with all the important European corporations in logistics and in this data field. So here, as a summary, just the logos of the projects and initiatives we as Digital Hub Logistics are engaged. Our preferred partners, as you have understood, might have understood, are the two Fraunhofer Institutes, the Technical University of Dortmund. But when we are broadening our scope and our perspective to whole North Rhine-Westphalia, of course, it is important to mention that, for instance, the University of Duisburg-Essen is a leading edge competence center when it comes to logistics research, but also, for instance, University of Aachen with the FIA Association and the related institutes are a very important player when it comes to applied research and innovation development for the logistics industry in North Rhine-Westphalia. Yeah, I think this snapshot should do for the time being. If you are interested to learn more about our initiatives, if you're interested to get in contact with the industry associations of our initiatives and our projects, please contact me or contact us. We are happy to help you and to support you. And with this final slide, I think I give back to Dominik. Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, thank you, Thorsten, for this great presentation. And there was one question in the chat that was already answered by Mr. Abelmann, but there's another one in the Q&A section. That's directly to you, Thorsten. How do we get in touch to be involved in the silicon economy? This person works with brands in their supply chain, and he sees synergies.
Definitely. So either contact me or go to the Silicon Economy homepage. There you will find two contact persons. The one is called Michael Schmidt, Dr. Michael Schmidt. So if you just drop him a message, or the other colleague who's mentioned there is Christian Passe, my colleague Christian Passe. All three of us are happy to support and to send you more information about this.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Okay. Then we go on, and yeah, a lot of our viewers today are international startups, and for all of you, our next spotlight should be very interesting. It's about how to bring international logistics startups to NRW, and is held by Jan Herzogenrath. Jan, you are innovation manager at Start.up, mentioned a lot of times today. So yeah, we're happy to have you here, and please start your presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Dominik, for the introduction, and also thanks to the other colleagues before to mentioning Startport and the Port of Duisburg. I'm going to present you a little bit more in detail. I will share my slides. So, from the beginning. And in the presentation mode. Okay, perfect. So thanks a lot, everybody, for your attention. My name is Jan Herzogenrath. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how to bring international logistics startups to North Rhine-Westphalia. And of course, I'm going to talk about what are the advantages of North Rhine-Westphalia, but also how we as Startport might help you. But before that, let me maybe get the broader context. Why are we so interested in startups? And this is due to, I brought an example, this is due to the recent innovations we have seen in technology, right? Increasing computation power, mobile apps, increasing battery efficiency, all those technology advantages have led to new business models, to new products. And you might know a lot personally. Maybe you've seen some of those e-scooters in the streets. I have, and those are competition for the existing industry, for example, for the taxi drivers. And those innovations do not stop in the transportation sector. This is also a big challenge for other industries, for logistics, right? So We have heard a little bit about logistics before. All you guys are quite close to the logistics sector, so I don't have to tell you that logistics is a branch, a sector that is not so innovative in some parts, right? We have companies that are doing business like they did 30 years ago. And those new digital innovations represent a challenge, but also represent the opportunity for those companies. And this is why everyone has to get in touch with startups and to see if there might be some business opportunities, if those products of the startups, of you guys, could be interesting. And this is why the Port of Duisburg, which we heard before a lot about, joined forces with companies from the region here in the Ruhr area in North Rhine-Westphalia to create an innovation hub to get in touch with international startups. And why is logistics so important for the port and other companies from the region? Because it's pretty huge, right? I've brought a picture so you get a broader overview of the significance of the port, which is our 100%, we are 100% subsidiary of the Port of Duisburg. So you can see that you have a lot of big cities around Duisburg, the blue dot in the right picture. You have around about 12 million inhabitants in this picture, and you have a lot of industry. You have Duisburg is the steel capital of Europe, so you have a lot of steel production there. You have a lot of chemical production, and this whole city belt between Duisburg and Dortmund is highly industrialized. So logistics innovations are very relevant, and also a good logistics connection is very relevant. This is why the logistics space is always increasing. All the factories are built down, and new logistics sites are being built up. So it's not only the port, the blue spot that you can see, but also the yellow spots are logistics sites connected to the Port of Duisburg and the other logistic hubs. So this also means, of course, a lot of logistics companies in the region, right, that use the network, that use the barge services, the train services, the ship connections to other ports in Europe. And all those industries need to innovate. And this is why Starport was created as a network, as an innovation hub, where international startups, so startups from Germany, of course, can get in touch with the corporations from the region. So to make sure that the companies are not missing out any new technologies, new products, and also to make it possible for you to come with your business to Duisburg or to Dortmund or to other cities in the region, and get your first customers in an early stage in Germany. And I know that it's very important to have first customers to attract new customers from Germany. It's always good to have some references. So we are experts in supply chain and logistics, of course, as a subsidiary of the Port of Duisburg. We offer a broad network of partners from science. You heard Thorsten Hülsmann before, companies from the region. We're in close contact with a lot of venture capital funds and business angels, especially with focus on logistics, because this is interesting for us. On the one hand, to identify new startups that could have interesting solutions for our partner companies here in the region. But on the other hand, it's also interesting for you if you need an investment from a corporate venture capital or venture capital firm. We might have maybe a good introduction, and we help the companies in our network to innovate by the initiation of new pilot projects. How can we support you? Well, there's a lot of ways how we can support you. We have especially developed for startups in an early stage a lot of services that are interesting and might help you, going from coaching workshops over networking with other startups from the program, events where you have the possibility to present yourself and your company to an interesting audience. We have a social media channel, so don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn. And this is one way how we can promote business. Of course, the matchmaking, this is the most important part. We try to put you into contact with companies from the port and from our network. We have an office space, so we do the introductions digitally, but also in our office space on events. If you need an address in Germany, you can use the office. If you need a co-working space, if you need a small office, reach out. Duisburg is well located, 20 minutes from the airport of Düsseldorf, third biggest airport in Germany. And you have all the logistics companies between Duisburg and Dortmund. We have a huge financial network, which I mentioned. And of course, if you are part of our network, you can also access credits, AWS, and so on. But most important, and I just want to stress this part, is the matchmaking. We are in close contact with the partner companies from our network. So the port, big steel trading company is also part of the network. A company in charge of the whole waste logistics in Duisburg. So how to keep the cities clean. And also in warehousing, we are looking container terminals, is very interesting. So if you have innovation in those kind of topics, please reach out via LinkedIn to me or by email. You find all the contact information on our website. Send me a pitch deck and we will evaluate with the team if your solution is interesting for one of our clients. And if this is the case, we might arrange a pitch day where you can present yourself to our companies in the network or digitally or in our office space in Duisburg. Yeah, so this I think is the most important part. I also brought you one example how it can work. This was with our partner company Logistik, which is doing the warehousing and logistics for Jack's Wine Depot, which is a big wine distribution company. And they developed a digital trainer during thanks to our introduction. And since then they developed very well, and they got several investment rounds. I think the investment round here, 2.5 million, was not the latest. I think they raised money some months ago again. So you see it works. Here are some companies from our network that were already in touch with us. So you can see that we are looking at a huge range of business models, products. One of the companies you can see here, Ant Machines, you will hear from Vitaly a little bit more later. And this is the partner network, so the exclusive partners, which we are scouting for innovations, Duisport, which is part of Duisburg, Logistik, big warehousing company, Knauf Interfair, big steel trading company, DIT is a container terminal here in Duisburg, and the last company is in charge of the waste management in Duisburg. And you also have a huge ecosystem. You already heard about the digital logistics and some other great initiatives. We are all in close contact. I think this is one of the strengths here in North Rhine-Westphalia. Then we have the financial network. These are only some of the venture capital funds we are in contact with. So if you have a pitch deck, maybe we can forward it if you're raising money. We're in close contact with universities in order to attract talent early and try to find startups for helping to incubate the solution in Duisburg. So yeah, if you're interested, if you have any questions, reach out on me for me on LinkedIn. I think that's the easiest way. Or send me a pitch deck via email, and we can see if it makes sense for you to present yourself in front of our companies. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you a lot, Jan. That are really great opportunities you offer for startups. Yeah, and now we already come to our last speaker. You already heard of him. He's another highlight here at the end. And I'm very pleased that we have with Vitaly Chukhanov, CEO from the Slovakian startup Ant Machine, a former participant of our Startup Germany tour from last year here with us, who has now successfully set up a location in Dortmund. And yeah, Vitaly will tell us in his spotlight more about his successful, innovative settlement. Thank you for being here with us, Vitaly.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, Dominic. I would say that probably it's more appropriate now to call us a German startup because we've been there for quite a long time, and actually we're also on our path towards even larger internationalization. Because I'm doing this call now from Israel, where we have some potential interest in our products. We are in the logistics field. Actually, what we do in brief, we're building robots for yards, so terminals in ports, in logistics hubs, in plants and other facilities where transportation of heavy loads is required within the facility boundaries. So that's heavy duty robots that go from remote control to distance remote control to full automation. And yes, as said initially, we had the project conceived, so to say, in Slovakia, because my partner is and co-founder is from Slovakia, so that's where we had the initial company and did some basic prototyping. And then last year we did take part in the Startup Germany tour. This is when we started to look into Germany as a country of settlement deeper. Through the iterations that we went on to the grand final in November, we did get more and more information of how things are set up for startups in NRW. The reason why we chose the region originally out of the whole country is specifically because, as said today many times, it has a huge focus on logistics. So there are a lot of potential customers for us. There are a lot of companies who we can work with. There are a lot of companies from whom we can also get some insights in the region, and that's why we decided to. Plus, also I have some personal connections in the area, so it was a little bit easier for us to find a great place to start. And at the same time, we also found out that there is such an accelerator or incubator as Start.up. We also applied and they accepted us in the and what we received from the program, what we received from the tour is access to the network. So the tour gave us an understanding of what would be the right steps to undertake when we're moving to Germany. Plus, well, we were lucky to take the third place in the grand finals, which also supported us in communication with the logistics network of the region. And as I said, we did manage to get to the accelerator program of Start.up. We also became part of Zenit, which is a business association here in the region. So this was the most, let's say, invaluable experience that we received from this whole activity. And I must say that we are very happy that we did that, because it's not just about the location. As a matter of fact, it definitely is about the network. It definitely is about, for us as a hardware startup, it was important to get accessibility to technologies, to parts, to supply, which we received. And we did receive a lot of support, both from IHK that organizes the tour, and from Start.up, who, as Jan just explained, they do introduce you to the whole network, whatever you need. I mean, it can be a logistics partner, it can be a potential customer, it can be just people who would consider a pilot or a POC project with you, and then would give some guidance and advice, and financials, of course, let's say last but not least. So this was the motivation for us. We were extremely happy that it did happen, that we went down that path. We are now quite happily settled in Germany. And as I said, we even have the possibility to go international. And by the way, this is also one of the ways that we're being supported with from both organizers of the startup tour and of Southport. So on the startup side, for us it was a great decision, and I would be more than happy to share the experience that we had with that. I think that the region is great. There are different programs, as you might know, different programs globally, different programs in Germany alone for the startups, for the acceleration. But if you are in the logistics business, I think that there's no better area than North Rhine-Westphalia. Even the port of Rotterdam, which is one of the biggest ports in the world, is nearby. So it's really it is a huge network. If there's any advice I can give or any expertise I can share, and experience I can share, I'll be more than happy to do so. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure that Jan or Dominic would share our contacts. I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vitaly, for this insights and for the information about your way to Germany. I think you're a very good example on how the tour can lead to, and programs like Startport and so on. So thank you very much. Yeah, that's how we can sign up for Startup Germany. Please, can you make your sound off? Thanks. Yeah, if you want to sign up for Startup Germany tour, just contact me via LinkedIn or via email address. We're very happy to show you how you can sign up. Yeah, and if there are no more questions, thanks to all of our speakers, thanks to our participants. We will send you the presentations afterwards so that you really can get in contact with all of them. I think they are very, it could be very interesting for our startups, and I hope to see you in our next webinars as well. Tomorrow we have a webinar on green tech, and the day after tomorrow on industrial solutions, and later this year we have something about taxes and law and pitching in Germany, sales in Germany. So very interesting for startups that want to be active here. So again, thanks to our partners, thanks to our speakers, thanks to our viewers, and hopefully see you at other webinars. And yeah, all of our speakers can wave now. Goodbye.